Once again, my name is Damian Sztankowski. I'm the technology lead at Cloud. I'm GDE as well. And today we are moving beyond the concept of forever permissions. And I'm here to talk with you guys about the fundamental shift in cloud security. I mean, the fundamental from my perspective. I mean, transitioning from permanent standing privileges to automated just-in-time access using Google Cloud native service called PAM, Privilege Access Manager, Okta, Terraform, GitHub Actions, Google Workspace, and so on. Our agenda for today, I will talk a little bit about standing privileges, least privileges, and ghost privileges. What are those three? Then we will jump to the community response for lack of just in time as a native service on Google Cloud platform. Then I'll speak a little bit about Privileged Access Manager, what the PAM is, how it looks like, and how does it work. Next one, we'll jump to the section where I will try to present how to connect all those dots. I mean, the Okta, PAM, Terraform, and so on. And last point for this presentation will be a lesson learned and Q&A if you will have any questions. Before we jump into the main topic, who am I? As I said, my name is Damian Sztankowski. I'm living in Poland, Bydgoszcz. I'm tech lead for Center of Excellence team at Cloud, IBM company. I'm also the Google Developer Expert in Google Cloud category. I'm CUBE astronaut, and previously I was champion innovator in modern architecture. Main theme for this presentation and main sentence for this presentation is never trust, always verify, words said by John Kinderberg, the father of zero trust approach. Deadly duo, standing privileges and least privilege. Before we jump into the PAM and how to connect those each other, we have to speak a little bit how it looks like in most case scenarios. From my perspective, from my experience, most environments, least privilege is a fairy tale. If you don't know what the least privilege is an approach where you are assigning the least amount of the permission needed for finish your work. Okay, and it's a nice to have that you follow this least privilege, but this least privilege it's always been terminated, so to say, every single day by his opponent. I mean, standing privileges, which we can name differently, the always on accesses. So I saw few customers, few projects where we and I was in few scenarios where I heard those words: engineer needs break glass admin rights or any kind of admin rights to fix a production escalation at 2 a.m. or there is a onboarding and your colleague have to jump in and help to onboard a customer, because just like that, because it's firing, it's ASAP. So they get the access, the fire is out, customer has been implemented, onboarded, but what about those permissions? Well, they stay there for months or years because when we talking about standing privileges, we are mostly forgetting, we are remembering to grant accesses, but we are forgetting to remove them once the job is done. So I would even say that we are not removing them because in a matter of time, because we are terrified to delete those connections, because we are not aware about those connections, and so on and so forth. So so this is how it looks like. With the standing privileges, we are using always also the terminology like ghost permissions, aka the forgotten access. So we are assigning permissions, not temporarily, but forever. And after some time, we forgot why those permissions have been assigned. And I will tell you one one thing. This kind of approach can be covered on audits. Either if we're talking about security audits or about the MSP audits. If the auditor, either security or MSP, if they will see standing privileges, this point will be failed. Okay, and what you see here at this moment on the screen is a perfect example how not to manage IAM in Google Cloud. Basically, this is the perfect example how not to manage IAM in general, because even if we are super detailed and we assigned someone the smallest possible permissions, which means that we are following the least privilege approach. In this current model, those permissions will remain there forever and ever, unless someone manually revokes them. But as we said previously, we all know how often we remember about that. Okay, and in practice, we are ending with dozens of people who have accesses to sensitive resources with high permissions because they helped with some implementations 5-10 years ago. And the Google Cloud community came to exact the same conclusions, saying more or less, enough is enough, we have to do something about that. And the community tried to patch the lack of native just-in-time service in Google Cloud Platform with their own solutions. You may heard about the open source projects called Just-in-Time Access or JIT groups. It was those two projects was a step in the right direction. I mean, they at some point covered the needs for just in time, and they are at some point covered the standing privileges and ghost privileges permissions issue. But we have to be clear and straightforward here. From my perspective, as an enterprise guy, those two open source projects should be treated as a temporary architecture. Just-in-time access. Community built open source based on Java software that assigned role on a temporary basis to specific user. And shortly, technology stack was limited to App Engine or Cloud Run, depending on who preferred which. The authorization layer has been covered by identity-aware proxy, but if you wanted to use the IAP or identity-aware proxy, you was forced to use App Engine, because at that time, only App Engine as a service was able to use identity-aware proxy. Okay, operations were performed by the IAM itself and Cloud Asset API, and this solution worked. As I said, it was a step forward to eliminate standing privileges, but this solution had limitations that caused problems. And as we all know, no one likes problems, especially if we're talking about problems and the security. Okay, so one of the problem of the JIT, just-in-time access, open source, was hard-coded role limits. I mean, on the first iterations of the open source, you as an end user, you was able to assign maximum 10 roles in a row. So it was quite limited. In later, this hard limit has been parameterized, but the greatest number of the max IAM roles affected the application's performance, which means that if you had more than 10 IAM roles to assign to one person, plus you had more than one person, the performance dropped drastically, and the time needed to fulfill the request was extended heavily. So yeah, it was cool, but we know how it is. Unfortunately, that's not all what was wrong with this solution. We had hard limits, and we had also static permissions. So to be able to use just-in-time as an open source, we had to create the service account on the Google Cloud site and assign to this service account security admin predefined role, and that was needed for the call the API and make a conditional IAM binding on particular user. If we wanted to use Google Workspace groups instead of single principal and use those groups in a way to just allow users to use JIT instead of assigning just in time to one or two person, we could use that, but we had to add additional permissions to the service account in this time on the Google Workspace level. I mean, we had to add groups editor in the admin console, assign it to the service account. The same with the security admin, who checked whether a given user was in the right group. And from my perspective, on that time, this approach was a quasi workaround for assigning permissions on a larger scale, but it wasn't super cool. I have to say that. And as I said, permissions were assigned at the user level, the conditional IAM binding. And conditional IAM binding is not bad in general, but managing IAM permissions on the single principal instead of group of principals is inconsistent with vendor best practice when we're talking about access management in general. So as you can imagine, nobody who did security reviews for the solution like this one liked such solution. Without group support, as I said, it was difficult to scale it to larger organization, and it was sign that more native and scalable solution was needed. So since JIT access didn't get it in the proper way, the community, well, they did another open source. By the way, this solution is maintained today. I mean, Dependabot is bumping the security packages on that repo, but slightly better. So you have to have question here. What is the real difference between JIT access and JIT groups? Okay, to be honest, JIT groups as the second open source tool introduced totally different mechanism for assigning permissions. I mean, users in JIT groups, users were assigned to groups that had a number of roles configured. So instead of assigning a user to a role, like it was in JIT access, we assigned the user to a group as best practice, followed best practice, and the group itself had specific permissions configured in advance. So it was kind of the second step or the second puzzle to have native privileged access manager and native just-in-time approach in Google Cloud. And I have to say that loudly. Community did a great job, but as an enterprise architect, from my perspective, that was still workaround. Okay, and this is the time, this is the place where Google Cloud privileged access manager comes in. I mean, a service, native service, which where we engineers have been waiting for, or since the beginning of the Google Cloud, I would say. And it's worth to mention that it wasn't just another overlay on IAM, like just in time and JIT groups. It was a native high-level privileged access lifecycle management system. So what does PAM change in our architecture? First of all, PAM separates entitlement from grant. In the old do-it-yourself model, I mean the open source approaches, we had to rigidly assign someone to a role or a group. Okay, in PAM, we define eligibility to have a privilege to assign to request the grants. This is the breakthrough because it allows us to manage us as admins to manage access without cluttering IAM policies with permanent entries. Okay, the key feature that solves our scalability problems is that PAM acts as managed state machine. When a user activates access, PAM temporarily modifies the IAM policy and clears it natively after max request duration has elapsed. So this happens at the Google API level, not through the external scripts or external application. So that eliminates the risk of orphaned permissions remaining on the system, and this and the scalability was much better than on open source community solutions. How does it look from the engineer's perspective? I mean, the PAM itself. User sees all entitlements in a PAM console, but can only activate those to which they are entitled. I mean, they are eligible. Okay, they have to select the required entitlement package and initiate the request. And at this point, system execute one of two scenarios defined in the code. So the first scenario is where we have this entitlement or grant pre-approved. We can use this for low risk roles like read-only, or for the environments where we don't have to be that strict. I don't want to say secured, but we don't have to strict watch which permissions our engineers have. So once the engineer fill out the grant request, I mean, they choose the grant duration, they provide the justification, which is mandatory, and they request the grant. After few minutes, engineers will get the permissions. Yes.
Yeah. Just want to know how entitlement is attached to the users.
Entitlements are attached to the users based on the entitlements group. I will show in a moment later the snippets of the Terraform code, and basically when you're creating the entitlement, you are providing the information whether who is eligible to request the entitlement. So you can use single principal like Damian Sztankowski at example.com, or you can use Google workspace group like I don't know, SRE engineers at example.com. Okay. The one key the one key information is here that we have to use either at gmail.com accounts, or we have to have user with the domain which is configured with the Google Workspace. In other scenarios, you will not be able to manage IAM for those users. So Gmail or Google Workspace with the domain. Okay?
Okay, then, thank you. Yeah.
What I said, once the request is granted, API call is being triggered on the background, and engineers get immediate access. Okay. The second scenario is where we have entitlement, which where the approval is required. So the step is exact the same, but after the request grant, after the pressing the request grant, the approver will be notified mostly through the email, and they can deny or approve the request. And the approvers, I mean the approver layer, can be configured in the same way as we are configuring the entitlement. So we can check the box that that the entitlement is pre-approved. So which means that after the request grant, request will be executed. Or we can provide the same mechanism in the same way. Approvers, it can be single person, or it can be email group with various of person. If you have security command center on the premium level, enabled on the organization or project, you can set up multi-party approval. So you can do the multi-approval chains, okay? Level 1, level 2, level 3, whatever. Without the security command center or SCC in a premium tier, you can have only one approver. Okay, moving forward. From an engineer's perspective, the process is transparent. Every change in status from the moment eligibility is assigned to the final activation of access is communicated by native email notification system, handled natively by Google Cloud. Additionally, each grant or actual role assignment, I should say, is enriched with the full set of metadata. So our logs shows us who made the request, for how long, and most importantly, with what the business justification was. So additionally, and those informations, those logs are available from the Logs Explorer point of view, if you have, of course, proper permissions. Additionally, if you have privileged access manager admin, a predefined role assigned on the project or organization, depends where you want to deploy this solution, you can see also those informations, I mean those logs, directly from the PAM console, I mean IAM PAM audit logs. So we can check those informations from two angles, let's say. How to connect those all things, I mean how to utilize privileged access manager, how to utilize Google Workspace, Okta, how to connect with the GitHub Actions, and so on and so forth. First question, because I'm saying today about two repositories, config and live data, so separation of code. Why two repositories? Because from my perspective, on an enterprise scale, we need immutable infrastructure. So I'm splitting entire solution for access management on two repositories. One is config, and second is live data. And the config repository contains all the logic, such as package naming, maximum time a user can request access approval steps if we have to and want to configure them. I'm providing I have standard files needed for Terraform, like variables TF or provider TF. There is nothing fancy there. Additionally, and this is let's say heart of the config repo, I'm setting up the privileged access manager TF, but you can call it whatever you want, where I configure all entitlements on the Google Cloud side, which will be deployed on the Google Cloud side after Terraform apply. So it should be noted here that I'm not using as a permission source, I'm not using the predefined roles or primitive roles like viewer, editor, Vertex AI admin, or security admin, or such. I'm using vendor provided. It's new, but I'm using vendor provided predefined roles for job functions. In example, I'm using database admin, site reliability engineering, or DevOps, or something like that. Why? Because sometimes it's hard. It's really hard, especially if you have company where you are providing the support for various of customers. Sometimes it's hard to find the proper role and golden standard, if we're talking about following the least privilege, not overwriting, not providing to not restrictive roles, and so on and so forth. So I'm using predefined roles for job functions because those roles contain all of the permissions typically required to access services related to a specific job functions, like SRE, like DevOps, like security, infra admin, and so on and so forth. I'm not also using the custom roles, because if you using custom roles, you have to maintain them. you have the fully responsibility how this role behave, whether is if you provided proper granular permissions and so on. So I'm always trying to switch the responsibility as much as I can towards the vendor, regardless if we're talking about Google Cloud or any kind of vendor, right? If I have this kind of possibility, I am doing in this way. And mostly that's all for config. Config repository, I have to say that config repository is restricted. I mean, this is our, let's say, heart and for entire solution, and we are not allowing to make any changes on this repository for the end users. Only a bunch of people who design this, who know how to handle this this code, is able to make some changes. The fun part is under the live data config, because here we not only consume the module, I mean this entire structure, okay? This is the place where we keep the configuration of the environments in which we have deployed the solution. This is also a repository where most of the verification actions take place, because this repository is open to the entire organization within the GitHub. So we had to somehow automate the Terraform linting, security, and so on and so forth. Additionally, this repository, because it's widely opened within the organization, this repository contains a Bootstrap script that prepares the environment, or I should say Bootstrap project, before deploying the solution on the organization project or the directory. Each deployment includes README, so README contains step-by-step instruction, what to do, how to onboard, and so on and so forth. As you can see, I have used a few simple basic Terraform files. Backend conf is used to configure the remote state for Terraform and is always deployed where the solution is configured. Why? Because we deploy the solutions. We are the solutions owner, but we do not own the space where the solution is configured. So in order to be fully transparent with the customer, with the security team on the customer side, and switch a little bit also the responsibility regarding access management toward the customer itself, we decided to create the dedicated bucket on the customer on environment and keep the state on that bucket. Main.tf is a file used to call the module and its configuration. You can see on the screen. There is a source. There is the definition PAM _deployment and the parameter source github.com blah blah blah, which means that I'm referring to the config repository. Okay. So each time we are making the deployment, each configuration is using our previously configured repository with the module and Terraform. And basically, this file cannot be modified by the end of the user. This file shouldn't be modified by end user unless user know what he is doing. In most cases, they do not aware, and they do not modifying this. And our heart of the configuration for the live data repository is terraform.dev vars. Here we define where PAM will be deployed, the maximum request time in seconds, notation, and who is authorized to request packages. Answering your question. This parameter read only eligible group. Okay. Additionally, we are providing the information on which email address we receive notifications about creation of entitlement, about requests of the entitlements, and all of those administrative informations. So and of course, it can be a single principal like Damian Sztankowski at example.com. We can also use Slack channel and send email directly to Slack, or we can use Google Workspace group or any kind of group to provide those informations. In addition, as I said, this repository contains several workflows, GitHub actions, to streamline the entire verification and implementation process. So I have four workflows here. Deploy.yaml. This is the main workflow. This workflow is responsible for building matrix of clients, aka deployments, that have been edited, testing changes through Terraform plan, populating these changes through a comment in pull request, and finally deploying those changes on the target environment. Workflow can also force deployment on all clients, make deployments in queue. Why? Because it's useful in situation where we have made global changes in a configuration repo, and like we added new entitlements packages, or change the naming convention, or add some prefixes, and so on and so forth. And we have to push those changes for our all already deployed solutions. Okay. Yeah.
So these entitlements are created at the folder level or project level or the organization level.
Yes. Yeah.
And these and the entitlements are assigned with any users or groups, and permissions will be granted, right? So so what is the best way to create these entitlements at the organization level or the folder level or the project level? So how many entitlements we can have it, and how this PAM is integrated again with any just in time? These are the questions I have it.
Okay, so basically it depends from what the structure your customer or you have regarding the deployments and the level of deployments. Mostly, I'm as a default, I'm suggesting always to our architects and engineers to deploy PAM, regardless if they are using this entire solution or just they want to configure PAM as default on the directory level. Okay, because the ideal scenario is where you have responsibility to maintain entire organization, regardless of the application and directories underneath the organization. So you are deploying the PAM at the root of the organization, and all of those permissions are cascaded and inherited from top to the bottom. Okay, but there are some excuses, let's say, and from that rule. I mean, if you have an example big organization on the customer side, and customer have 5 application, logically split it through the directories or the projects, and you as a, I don't know, MSP or contractor who is supporting the customer is responsible for only one application, and that application is configured on one level, on one project, single project, I don't know, shared services or something like that. This is the example where I suggest to deploy the PAM on the project level, but as a default, I suggest to set up PAM on the directory. Of course, in the cases where you have proper setup from the logical setup from the directory point of view. Okay, how many entitlements we can have? As far as I remember, I don't remember exactly, but almost 30. In a one deployment. We can't use primitive roles like viewer, editor, owner on the PAM. And what was the last question? Or I handled all of.
So PAM is integrated with JIT.
Well, just in time is a methodology. Okay, so PAM is a service which is following the just in time approach or philosophy. In other words, just in time saying that you have to have way to assign permissions only for specific time, specific permissions on specific time, and after desired time, those permissions have to be automatically revoked. And PAM doing this in this exact way. I mean, you are eligible to assign particular permissions or roles, so to say, on the desired time, and after this time is finished, PAM automatically make a cleanup, and you are not assigned to those permissions anymore. It doesn't mean that you are losing the privileges to assign or request grants again after the expiration. But basically, this is how the PAM works and how the PAM is connected with JIT approach.
Okay. You said that JIT groups is an open source tool.
Yep.
So how it is different within a PAM?
It's different because it's open source, so you don't have support.
Okay.
You have to deploy this as an application, Cloud Run or App Engine. So you have to maintain it, you have to monitor it, you have to update, upgrade, you have care about the security stuff around the application. And as I said, it's not provided by the vendor. So you are the first point of contact if something goes wrong with the application. In case of PAM, Privileged Access Manager, if you have support, even the basic one, you can send the ticket each time PAM is not working. Okay, so if you go to the enterprise customer and you say, hey, I have JIT group open source application, it works more or less the same as PAM, but it's open source. and it's not supported by vendor in a way that that you have normal support from vendor, each CISO from enterprise organization will say that no, I don't want to use it. I will not allow to use it on our organization. Also, lastly, also on the official repository of JIT group, there is one disclaimer that Google provided native service called Privileged Access Manager, and you should use this native service instead of JIT group.
Is it who JIT groups is from which organization or from which company? It is from which company?
It has been created by one or two Googlers, as far as I remember. Is hosted on the Google Cloud repository. It's open. You can let's say Google it, JIT groups, and you can use it as normal. You can test it. But as I said, it's not heavily developed at this moment. I know because I'm getting the emails that depend about bumped security versions of particular packages from Java, as far as I remember. But apart from that, there is no any active the development new features of this solution. And PAM is free. Okay, once you are using the Google Cloud, you don't have to have the organization. You can use your trial this free 90 days or 300 bucks, and you can play around the PAM without any issue.
Okay. How JIT is linked with Google Workspace groups?
As I said at the middle of the presentation, to be able to grant accesses, IAM permissions, or roles, I should say, on the Google Cloud site, you have to use either user with the gmail.com account, like normal Gmails accounts, or you have to have your user with the Google Workspace organization. It can be different, okay? You don't have to use in example, if you have a Google Cloud organization named example.com and the Google Workspace console or the Google Workspace with the domain damian.com, whatever, you don't have to, you will be able to add those two Damian.com users to the example.com organization without any issues. But it have to be on the identity. I should say identity must exist on the Google Workspace, even though you are using Okta as your IDP or OpenLDAP or Azure Active Directory or Active Directory, whatever. It has to be synced to the Google Workspace, and then you can use a identity from Google Workspace to assign permissions. There is no other way.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I was saying about the project.yaml. This is simple workflow that checks code semantics and formatting for the edited clients. I mean Terraform Lint, Terraform FMT, and that's all. Semantic labeler. I'm kind of lazy person, so I don't like to assign manually the labels for pull requests. So I wrote the semantic labeler, and based on the pull request name and commit name, GitHub will automatically assign the label. And last flow is on offboarding.yalm, and this is entirely manual workflow that removes solutions from the organization, which means workflow is doing Terraform destroy, and additionally removes configurations from the repository itself, keeping everything up to date. So once we trigger the workflow, we provide the customer folder name and type destroy and then run workflow. Workflow will connect to the organization, will perform Terraform destroy, and then workflow will create the pull request on the same repository and remove with the commit where you have removed the configuration. I mean the directory for destroyed customer, to have this fully automatically and to not keep directories on the live configuration and no deployment on the desired target. It's pointless. Okie dokie. Few words about security, because I haven't mentioned it yet. I told you that the repo also contains Bootstrap script that prepares the environment for deployment, and it's kind of true. But what does the actually setup is? First of all, this Bootstrap script, shell script, is creating dedicated Bootstrap service account on the Bootstrap project. One important distinction: this is not the account, I mean the service account used by PAM to manage the permissions. Once you're activating the PAM service, PAM or Google Cloud is creating dedicated Google PAM service account, and it's managed by Google Cloud itself. This Bootstrap service account is an account with extremely limited permissions on the Bootstrap project, whose sole task is to provision infrastructure and assign predefined role to the eligible groups or users to be able to request grants. Additionally, this service account is using the is creating the bucket for Terraform state, and which is most important here, this Bootstrap script is also creating and configuring entire workload identity federation configuration, because we're talking about access management, we're talking about security, and we have to be sure that our connection from the GitHub to the Google Cloud organization is also secured. So I'm not relying on service account static keys. I'm using workload identity federation, which is using OEDIC protocol with the common expression language assertions. So in a simple words, when we triggering the flow and entire deployment, GitHub action is asking for the permissions to use this Bootstrap service account through the workload identity federation. And to obtain the access token, I mean, from the workload identity federation itself, this request have to be triggered from the GitHub repository. It must use defined service account, which is second point and requirement. And what is most important, the GitHub action, this action must be triggered from the particular GitHub organization, and the particular GitHub organization is configured under the attribute conditions. This condition assertion.repository_owner equal and the organization GitHub organization name. We can also configure here the exact repository, and all of those conditions have to be met to grant the GitHub Actions token to be able to securely connect to the Google Cloud. As far as I remember, this token is have TTL 1 hour by default. We can, as far as I remember, extend this to 24 hours or 12 hours. Yes.
So if the service account token is for the GitHub workflow,
Yep.
means workload identification is by default 1 hour. So how it is automated? Is it going to renew by automatically, or how it is going to be happen?
This token, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, this token is, as I said, each time the GitHub action is triggering, initiating the connection between GitHub and Google Cloud through the workload identity, specifically workload identity federation. Conditions, all conditions are met. The caller, in this case GitHub action, will receive access token which will expire after 1 hour. So after 1 hour, by default, you, as far as I remember, you can under the GitHub actions, you can define how long this TTL token have to be live, I would say, but basically as a default, it's 1 hour, maximum 24 hours, minimum 15 minutes, as far as I remember. But 1 hour is default.
Okay. So whenever the new push or new thing was happened, again it will take the new commit or new push or new pull request has happened. Again, it will come to an activation state.
Yeah.
The new token will be built.
Yeah, exactly. Automatically. As long as you are doing pull request or configuration for the customer which you already onboarded. I mean, what you are see here, those are the GitHub secrets and a few outcomes, outputs from this Bootstrap script. I mean, to be able to initial the connection or request from the GitHub actions to the Google Cloud through the workload identity federation, you have to have workload identity federation provider and service account email, which have access to this pool. Okay, and I'm doing this in a way that I'm using repository secrets, and I'm assigning secrets. And under those secrets, as you can see, I'm using naming convention test underscore customer test AM3 test underscore service account, in short, underscore email, and test underscore blah 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 underscore workload identity federation, in short, underscore provider. And those two secrets are responsible or allowing me, in other words, to initiate the connection from the GitHub actions to the organization. And the workflow itself is right in a way that he's iterating, he's checking through the diff which directory has been changed. I mean, for example, test customer or recruitment customer or example customer, and based on that, he checking through the repository secrets and using proper secret to establish the connection or the initiate the request. This is how it looks like. You don't have to do it in this way, but each time if you do not do this in this way, you will be forced to hard code those values on the GitHub action, and due to the fact that you want, I'm assuming you want to set up this solution for more than one customer, or more than one, you want to do more than one different deployment, you don't want to hard code the provider and email on the GitHub actions, because if you open this repository, everybody will see your sensitive data, which is pointless. Okay. Yep. When we look at on the organization level, we see access packs, aka entitlements, already deployed through the Terraform. Our standard guardrail here is 8 hours. I mean the max duration. Why? Because it perfectly covers our standard working day. However, we made one exception for the read-only role due to the low risk level. I mean, we are talking about read-only and our operation scale. We agreed to extend the duration of the deployment of the request to the 7 days. So once engineer is starting his shift at Monday, he can request access read-only to the particular customer. He have to also provide the justification why this access is needed, but at maximum for read-only, he can request 7 days, not 8 hours. Why? Because it's kind of bow to the user experience. I've been working as a support engineer. I know how it looks like. You are getting, especially if you have multiple customers and you act as MSP, you are getting a lot of incidents. You have to have at least view almost every day and each hour. So to find golden path, let's say here, golden standard, we decide to extend this to 7 days. Okay. Okta, our IDP, and this is the brain of the entire operations. I mean, Okta is acting here as lifecycle management layer, and you could ask, why did we invest in a dedicated Okta workflows if we have a Google Workspace? And that would be good question. I will answer this because of principle of zero trust. I mean, we must isolate eligibility management from the actual activation layer, okay? Because in the classic model, even though we are using the PAM, our users are assigned to Google Workspace groups in a static way. Once assigned, permissions becomes a security gap, so to say. So we are partially covering the standing privileges, but from the Google Workspace perspective, nothing changed, to be honest. So this is why we are using. Yeah.
In the classic way, do we need any access to the Google Workspace also to work on to implement this PAM?
No. you have to have Google Workspace groups.
Okay.
And
Again, those and Google Workspace groups are different from the Google groups. I mean, like Google Workspace groups are different from the groups which we create in the organization level or folder level or the project level. Those are different, and the Google Workspace and Workspace groups are different. That's what
I mean. I don't know to which groups you are referring on the Google Cloud.
Because in Google Cloud we create a groups, right? We create a group and we will assign the users to that group.
Yeah, but you are creating you are creating the groups of permissions, which are named entitlements. Entitlements contain they may have contain approval and approvers, and each entitlement contain the user which is eligible to request the grant, which means that you can use single principal like Damian Sztankowski at example.com, and only my person will be able to request particular permission, or you can use Google Workspace and create workspace group called infrastructure engineers at example.com, and instead of my single username, user group, user email, provide Google Workspace email, and then on the Google Cloud perspective, you will assign eligibility to the Google Workspace group, but who will be on that group from the management perspective? It's only you at this moment. So you will be able to add me to the group, add my colleague to the group, add yourself to the group, and all of those three people, all of us, will be able to request the grant.
Okay. One question I have it. So in Google, in GCP, in Google Cloud Platform, we call an identity as user, group, or service account. Okay. The identity can be any user, service account, or a group.
Yep.
So how this group is different from the Google groups which are present in the workspace level? Are the same? Both of them are the same, or both of them are different?
They are the same. If we're talking about identity per se, they are the same.
Yeah, they are the same. Okay, then. Thank you. Yeah.
But to create, you can let me put this in with those words. You can utilize groups on the Google Cloud, right, under the IAM, but to utilize those groups, you have to have place where you will be able to create those groups, and this place is for our cases, for Google Cloud cases in general, Google Workspace.
Yeah.
So you are creating. It's like I don't know if you touch the Active Directory for on-premise in general. So you can create those groups or functional groups, whatever, on the Active Directory level, and this is the place where you are creating the entity, and you can use those groups, for example, to the Windows and policies to log into the Windows machine, for example. So for Google Cloud itself, this is the same. You are creating the groups, like the bucket for people on the Google Workspace, and you are utilizing this bucket or directory on the Google Cloud IAM. Yep.
Okay, then. Thank you. Yeah. Let us jump into the Okta section.
Yep. Okay. So why Okta? Because as I said, if we are not using Oktas and Okta workflows or any kind of way to create just-in-time approach or mechanism on the Google Workspace, because Google Workspace natively doesn't have this kind of approach, we are partially covering the standing privileges, okay, so standing permissions, and you are seeing the Okta request and workspace sync image. The flow is pretty simple. We are logging to Okta as our IDP. We are using MFA. We are selecting Okta access requests. We are selecting proper access workflows, and visibility of those workflows are based on the attribute-based access condition, the attribute-based access condition on the Okta profile attribute. So your profile at Okta have to have configured proper attribute to see particular Okta request. Then you are choosing the access level, access time, and you are providing the justification. And here we are also following the same approach, pre-approved or approval. And once the request is approved or pre-approved, doesn't matter, end user is being notified. But under the hood, what is going on? Okta is adding your Okta user to the Okta group, and protocol scheme connector is syncing those changes to the Google Workspace. So we are using our IDP, Okta as our IDP, or we could use Azure Active Directory as well, it doesn't matter. We are doing changes on our IDP, then we are using scheme connector to reflect those changes on the Google Workspace. And in this case, our Google Workspace is should be treated as a way for granting the possibility to use IAM on Google Cloud. So if you are on the read-only group on the Okta site, you will be also on the read-only group on the Google Workspace. Why in this way? Because this allows us to handle the assigning users to group, and we are removing the static assignment to groups. So the approach is the same. We have 8 hours for read, write, and admin accesses maximum. We have 7 days for read only. At the Monday, user is requesting at Okta access to read only role. Let's say he is setting up 7 days. Request is pre-approved. We have to wait 60 seconds or 2 minutes, 3 minutes to allow scheme connector to reflect the changes, and then once a user is being notified that request has been fulfilled, he is able to log into the particular customer for which he requested the read-only and request the read-only on the Google Cloud side. So we have two dual layer of defense in this case. Okay? Yeah.
Can you please move into the previous slide? Yeah. How it is different for the 4th point and 8th point, how both of them were different? Here we are defining the access time, and in the fourth step,
they are the same.
And also they are the same. So both the places we have to keep the same level, or the value need to be entered manually, both the places.
We are doing this in a way that all of the requests for new groups, I mean, which have to be on the Google Workspace group, we are setting up them on the Okta side. So our Okta is our first, or the Okta is acting as source of truth. Okay, and if we have 30 groups for Google Workspace, and those 30 groups are used on the PAM, those groups are also on the Okta. And now we because we didn't wanted to follow the or use the spam on a Google Cloud site that we are assigning the permissions or users to the Google groups manually on a static basis, and we are only using PAM as a just-in-time solution on the Google Cloud side. From my perspective, it's partially win. Okay, because as I said previously, PAM is literally is doing his job on the Google Cloud side, but the eligibility of request those grants, if we are not using Okta, are static. So if we have, I don't know, super user entitlement on the Google Cloud side configured with organization wide predefined roles, and we we are not using Okta, and we assigned, I don't know, me as a user or on the Google Workspace, I have permanent access, high access to do anything on the Google on the customer side, which is against the least privilege. Okay, so this is the reason why we are using Okta and Okta workflows to not maintain, let's say, or do not mix different approaches for our end users. We agreed to use the same approach. I mean, the 8 hours and 7 days on the Okta workflows. And yeah, mostly this is the reason why. And one addition: what if we are requesting read only in Okta for 1 hour, okay, and after 30 minutes we are logging into the Google Cloud and we are requesting read only as a grant, as an entitlement for 7 days. This means that if Okta, if from the Okta perspective this 1 hour will expire, it means that our accesses on the Google Cloud side will also expire? No, because as I said, we split the eligibility, which is handled by Okta and Okta workflows, from the actual grant, which is handled natively by PAM. So even though we requested 1 hour on the Google Cloud side, on the Okta side, and we requested 7 days or 8 hours on the Google Cloud side, even though the Okta work request will expire, our request, our grants already assigned will expire at the end of the requested time. So this is the speed here.
Okay. One more doubt. So in the entitlement also, in the request grant area, we will mention the time period, right? That's what you are saying.
Yeah.
That is what you are saying, right?
Yep.
So ideally, won't it take from the value from the Okta? How it is? So for example, if Okta, in the Okta we mentioned as 1 hour, so it should take the value from the Okta itself instead of the manually again entering the value, which should not be any different differs from the value which is present in the Okta. So because this is a conflict, right? So Okta one value and PAM we are giving the some other value. It is a conflict. So ideally, it should be. Yeah.
I would argue that it's a conflict because it might be, but from my perspective, from my point of view, it would be a conflict if we configure the Okta with the longer time and the PAM on the Google Cloud with the shorter time for the request. From my perspective, it would be the conflict. If we using the same approach on the Google Cloud, I mean, in terms of the time and values, if we're using the same approach on the Google Cloud and Okta. Also, additionally, if we're using MFA at Okta site, we are secured. Why? Because to be able to log in to the customer, you have to log into the Okta first or your IDP. So you have to have MFA, password, and so on. If you do not obtain those values, this means that you will not be able to log into the Google Cloud environment. So, from my perspective, but this is only my perspective, there is not so much conflict if we're talking about 7 days at Okta and 7 days at Google Cloud. At Google Cloud. Ideally, yes, it should be the same. I mean, if we set up the 5 days, an example, at Okta, it should be reflected automatically on the Google Cloud. It would be the, let's say, perfect solution, but there are no perfect solutions, and we didn't want it to overcomplicate this. Being totally honest with you, and this is the reason why we didn't connect that Okta itself to the Google Cloud to obtain to keep those values and make those values equal. Okay.
In point 3, I can see that you as access workflow. So there we are mentioning the roles which the person can access it, or how he is going to select which role he need to get it from the Okta.
Each customer have their own access request, and there are only 2 roles: read only and operations from the Okta perspective. So read only means read only, and read only allows you to request only read only entitlement on the Google Cloud, nothing more. This admin access allows you to request on the Google Cloud side, allows you to request 1 of 5, as far as I remember, different roles. So entitlements. So you can utilize, you can request infrastructure admin entitlement, or DBA admin, or NetSec admin, or SRE admin, DevOps, and something else.
Okay. In the entitlements also, we are mentioning any roles that the any roles we are mentioning in the entitlements in the PAM. Do we mention over there any roles like is there any chance that you can go to the PAM and show this exactly what the entitlements contains? One more
well,
time,
entitlement contains but I don't know if you're able to see it, but entitlements in row 3, roles and conditions, and each entitlement contain exact IAM predefined role. So if I'm setting up the entitlement for DBA, I'm assigning the predefined IAM role database admin, and that's all.
In Okta, how this person is going to choose this entitlement from the Okta?
From Okta side, this user is not able to choose entitlement. Entitlement is covered by the PAM and Google Cloud. Okta is being used only to manage the permissions to request request the entitlement. So from Okta, you are choosing, the flow is, you are logging to Okta, you are logging to Okta access requests, I don't have access to production Okta on this laptop, so sorry, I can't show it. But basically, you are using the access Okta access request. You are picking the desired request from the Okta, like, I don't know, customerexample.com. From this request, you are choosing which access level you want to use, whether it will be read only or it will be admin. You are providing access time maximum 7 days or 8 hours, depend on the workflow, and then you are providing justification. Those access workflows means on the screen screenshot means the eligibility from the Okta perspective to see requests. So if you are eligible to, because you have enough experience, you are enough experience to see, I don't know, read only workflows, you will be able only to use read only role and read only workflows. If you are able to see, for example, on call workflow, you will be able to see read only, admin, and additionally on call. So those parameters from ABAC Okta profile, they are steering which access requests you are seeing as an end user on the Okta side.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, how he can come to know he can only be in a read only or a workflow or admin workflow? How it is the delegation is happening? He can only see the read only workflow or admin workflow.
Based on the Okta setup, Okta group setup, Okta application setup, and Okta. Okay, so from the beginning, you have internal request to assign me as a Damian to read admin to admin request. Okay, at Okta. Your manager is approving this, and I getting this parameter admin access on true, let's say, which means that each time I'm logging to the Okta request, I'm seeing all requests which are assigned to be used for admins. Okay, and how it looks like from the Okta itself, I don't have this screenshot, unfortunately, but you have a different workflow which is assigning the visibility of users based on the profile attribute, because Okta contain a lot of fields, also custom fields, where you can define what kind of attributes are stored. So you can steer workflows depends on those attributes as well, and manage assignment to the groups dynamically on the Okta side as well, and so on and so forth. So we don't have to use Okta, but if we don't use Okta and Okta workflows, we are losing the just in time for the eligibility on the Google Workspace. That's all. You can manage accesses on the Google Workspace side manually, okay, as an admin or owner of particular groups, which means that you have to remember about maintaining accesses, the provisioning, and so on and so forth. This is why we are using. This is why I used Okta here to not manage on the scale, to not manage all of those things manually. Because if you have 5 users, it's okay. If you have 5,000 users, it will be a mess, right? Also, from the audit perspective, if we're talking about audit for MSPs, MSPs requirements are straightforward. You have to manage your accesses to Google Workspace and your IDP in an automated way. This is how it is. So to be able to at some point cover the audit perspective, we are forced, let's say, to use in this case Okta. We could use the Azure Active Directory as well, and this scheme connector as well, and some kind of automation on the Azure side as well. We could use third party and rip off this kind of solution entirely. I mean the PAM and Okta as well. We could use CyberArk. CyberArk is third party tool, and it's this allows you to do much more than I presented here. So we could do that. Well, yeah. That's all. I think most probably I missed something, but we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said that we can use Active Directory and CyberArk. So how this is going to be happened between the Active Directory and CyberArk? At the same time, I want to know about Okta Okta is using a STIM protocol for GCP as a middle layer between the Okta and GCP. How the authentication is happening between both of them, because both of them were in a different software. The GCP is in a cloud platform and Okta is in a software. Is a software. How the authentication is happening between the both of them, and how STIM protocol is working both of them. And the next question is within a CyberArk, how the CyberArk can be utilized. You mentioned that we can even use Microsoft Active Directory also. So how it can be done within a Microsoft Active Directory and the CyberArk?
So within order. First of all, we are using Okta as our identity provider. So you don't have to use Okta as an IDP, identity provider. You can use Azure Active Directory as your source of truth and use scheme protocol to synchronize or simply say copy the all attributes to the Google Workspace. Okay. So you are creating entity. You are creating principal at the Azure Active Directory, and you are configuring the sync between Azure Active Directory to the Google Workspace. And after the sync, what you have on the Azure Active Directory is reflected on the Google Workspace. That's all. You can use also. You could use also CyberArk.
And one point to just stop.
Yeah.
You said that Microsoft Active Directory will be synced. Make sure that it will be synced with a Google Workspace.
Yeah.
And later we need to implement the PAM over here, right? In the Google.
I mean,
that's what to have a just-in-time access.
Yeah. The Google Cloud layer with the PAM will not going to change. I mean, because Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, Okta, or any kind of IDP which is different than Google Workspace is acting only as a source of truth to keep information about your users on your side. So you have one place where you are setting up all of the information about your user, and to be able to use those users on the Google Cloud, you have to copy them to the Google Workspace. So you
And
have
later we need to, yeah.
So you have to have two places where you have the same information, I would say. And then you can configure PAM either through the Terraform or in a manual way, without any thinking about the Okta or any kind of. The one disadvantage. I don't know the Azure Active Directory and Active Directory deeply, I would say, because I'm doing mostly on Google Cloud, but I know that at the end of the day, if you are not using Google Okta workflows, you don't have possibility to automatically add and remove users to Google Workspace. You can, in fact, use some kind of CLI created for Google Workspace, but I never managed the users in this way for Google Workspace. I either configured them manually, which means that I added them and removed them manually, or together with guys from Okta team on our company, we used Okta and Okta workflows to sync the users to the Google Workspace, and that's all.